You know that feeling, right? Packing your bags, the excitement of heading somewhere new. We all love it. But have you ever stopped to think that every single trip you take is part of this giant, invisible system? Whether you're just driving an hour to the beach or flying across the world. Well, today we're going to unpack the hidden geography behind your vacation.
So let's kick things off with a pretty simple question. What's the actual difference between just having a day off and going on a vacation? I mean, the answer might seem obvious, but it's really the key to understanding how this whole tourism thing works. It all boils down to a few core ideas. You see, the journey from a lazy Sunday on your couch to a full-blown adventure in another country is built on three simple steps. Think of them as the basic building blocks for every trip you've ever taken. Okay, first up, you need leisure. That's just your free time, the hours you're not at work or school. Simple enough. Then you've got recreation. That's all the fun stuff you choose to do during your leisure time, right? Maybe it's jogging at Taman Tasik Titiwangsa or playing badminton with friends. But here's where it gets interesting. Tourism is when you take that recreational activity and you go do it somewhere else, outside your normal stomping grounds. So jogging in your local park? That's recreation. But traveling to Johor to visit Legoland? Boom, that's tourism. So you've decided to travel for fun. Great. The very next question you ask yourself is, where am I going to go? And that decision right there introduces a huge concept in geography, scale. Because how far you travel completely changes the game. Let's see what that looks like. Your adventure can happen on all sorts of scales. A local trip could just be visiting a beach in your own town. Like someone from Kuala Terengganu heading over to Pantai Batu Buruk. Step it up a notch, and you've got a regional trip, like a tourist from Kuantan going up to Genting Highlands. Then there's national travel, going all the way across the country, say from Penang to Sabah to climb Mount Kinabalu. And of course, you've got international and even global travel, like a tourist from Singapore visiting Malacca or someone flying all the way from Europe to explore Malaysia. Every one of these fits into this geographical picture. And here's the cool part. It doesn't matter if you're going local or global. Every single trip, no matter the scale, is made of the exact same three geographical parts. This is the blueprint, the very anatomy of travel. And here it is. This is the whole thing in one simple picture. It might not look like much, but this diagram is literally the blueprint for every vacation ever. You've got two places connected by some kind of route. So the key is understanding what these three components actually are. Let's build this system out with a real-world example. All right, every journey has to start somewhere, right? In the tourism system, we call this the tourist generating area. And it's exactly what it sounds like. It's where the tourists come from. It's their home base, their starting point. So think of places like China or Singapore. They are major generating areas for tourists who come to visit Malaysia. So what makes a place a big tourist generating area? Well, it's a mix of things. First, people need to have some disposable income, extra cash to actually afford a trip. They also need good access to transportation, like major airports. But it's also about culture and demographics, which can influence where people want to go and what they're interested in doing. Now, at the other end of that journey, you have the tourist receiving area. This is the destination. It's the whole reason for the trip. For tourists coming to Malaysia, this could be the beautiful beaches of Langkawi, the bustling city of Kuala Lumpur, or the historic streets of Malacca. This is where the magic happens. And what makes a destination a hit? It's never just one thing. It's the whole package. You need unique attractions, of course, but you also need good infrastructure. Nice hotels, easy transportation. You need good marketing to get the word out. And, maybe most importantly, you need that warm, local hospitality that makes visitors feel welcome. And finally, you have the piece that connects it all, the transit route. These are the pathways that get you from home to your destination. It could be a flight on AirAsia or Malaysia Airlines, a train trip, or even just the highway you drive your car on. And when we're picking a route, we're all thinking about the same things, aren't we? How much is this going to cost? How long will it take? Is it easy to get to? And of course, is it safe? All these factors shape how we move from one place to another. Okay, so we've got the three pieces for a single trip. Now let's zoom out, way out. Because when you take one person's journey and multiply it by millions, you start to see these massive, predictable patterns of movement all over the world. Look at this number, 2 million. Just let that sink in for a second. That's roughly how many tourists travel from just one country, China, to Malaysia every single year. That's not just a bunch of random trips. That is a massive, predictable flow of people. And this constant movement is what geographers call a tourist flow. It's that steady stream of people moving from the generating areas to the receiving areas, along all those transit routes we just talked about. It's basically the lifeblood of the entire tourism system. So why bother tracking all this? Well, it's actually super important. By understanding these flows, where people are coming from and where they're going, countries can plan for the future. They know where to build more hotels, when to expand airports, how to create marketing that actually works, and how to get ready for those crazy peak seasons. It drives huge economic decisions. All right, let's put all this theory into practice. We're going to bring all these concepts together with a really simple, everyday example that a lot of us will recognize. Let's take a classic weekend trip from Singapore to Johor Bahru. The tourist-generating area? That's Singapore. It's where the journey begins. The transit route? That's the Johor-Singapore Causeway, the physical bridge connecting them. The tourist-receiving area is Johor Bahru, where people go to shop or visit theme parks. And how do we know all this? Well, it's all measured through things like border crossing records, data from hotel bookings, and tracking tourist spending. See? Every trip fits perfectly into the system. So the next time you're planning a trip, remember all this. You're not just a tourist. You're a part of a generating area, choosing a transit route, heading to a receiving area, and becoming a part of a tourist flow that shapes economies and places. So think about it on your next trip. What role will you play in the system?